Alright, maybe I need to space them out a bit. Have I ever told you about the tragedy of Hypnotic software? So it's 1997. Arena shooters were popping off with the release of 3D Realms' Shadow Warrior and Monolith's Blood, two of the holy trinity of build engine games, with the third piece, Duke Nukem 3D, which released the year prior, receiving several expansion packs keeping the brand alive for the coming years, thanks to a little studio named Sunstorm Interactive. A studio born from primitive first-person hunting games to contributing expansion packs to each of the build engine trinity, as well as... Nope, we don't talk about that one. This story may sound familiar to some of you. It's a story I've heard plenty of times in this community because of how depressing its ending is, with Sunstorm being bought out by Gabriel Entertainment, being damned to an eternity of crappy mobile games. But for me it's a little bit different, because when I first heard the story of Sunstorm Interactive's downfall, I thought, hey, that story sounds a lot like another small studio hired to work on expansion packs for another beloved arena shooter. And I was right. No, not Raven Software, that's a completely different beast. I'm of course talking about... While id Software was scrambling to release what would later become Quake 2 after losing a chunk of their team, they still wanted to bide their time by expanding their Lovecraftian classic, hiring Hypnotic Software and Rogue Entertainment to produce two full expansion packs for 1996's Quake. Now, expansion packs were nothing new for id. Wolfenstein's Spear of Destiny got like 12 of them, and Romero talked a couple of lads into letting their community map packs be sold commercially as expansions for Doom 2. But id Software outsourcing to not one but two other studios was something new at the time. This resulted in Quake Mission Packs 1 and 2, the Scourge of Armagon, and Disillusion of Eternity, respectively, both releasing a single month apart. Probably a great time for the casual consumer itching for more Quake action, but this also means that the new additions each pack introduced varied wildly from one to the other, as either studio had little contact with the other. We're going to be looking at the Scourge of Armagon today, the very first endeavor from Hypnotic Software, boasting names like Tom Mustaine and Richard Gray, aka Level Lord, both veterans in the arena shooter scene, and Level Lord, a name you might recognize from Duke 3D, one of Quake's bigger competitors at the time. You either die a hero or, yeah, you know the rest. And before we get into the meat of Scourge, let me address the elephant in the room real quick for some of my longtime viewers. I've done a video on the original Quake, and I was not good at it, to put it lightly. I played it on the normal difficulty and complained about enemies being too difficult to understand in a heated firefight. This was an uneducated perspective. I was a dumbass, plain and simple. And honestly, I probably should have waited to become better at the game before I did this review on it. I could say the same about a lot of my older reviews. But I'll still take this knowledge that I've gained over the years and put it into the expansions, so I will be tackling Scourge on the Hidden Nightmare difficulty as a way to somewhat redeem my boomer shooter card. But first, let's start with the story, and it's as basic as it gets. Ranger slays Shub demonetized at the end of Quake 1 and finds a blood-stained slipgate in the caves of Shub's domain, taking the slipgate with no other alternative taking him back to the military research complex he considers home, only for an alarm to blare that Quake's forces have infiltrated the weapons storage facility, and that's really it. Quake has influenced the soldiers of your home base. Take out as many of the bastards as you can and try to take out the portal that spills Quake's forces into our world, signing off with a Valhalla awaits. Yeah, it's a little out of place. I guess this is because one of the new weapons you get in Scourge is Mjolnir? Yeah, remember how Quake was originally intended to be a Nordic RPG adventure wielding the Hammer of Thor? Well, Hypnotic made that a reality. The hammer part anyway. It's kind of underwhelming. We'll get there. Oh yeah, last thing. I'm playing this on the Quake Spasm source port that some of you have suggested to me. At the time, I thought that Dark Places was the best. I was wrong. Let's just move on. Welcome to the Scourge of Armagon. No episode select hub since the game progresses linearly without breaks. Think Doom 2. I do like the personality this one's got with a Slipgate Complex-esque aesthetic to it, and get used to it because we're going to be spending most of this first episode in the earthly realm. We don't go to the underworld for a good minute. Like the base game, we've got three main difficulties, easy, medium, and hard, with Nightmare hidden behind the stack of blocks near the easy gate. Though before we begin, I do want to show this off. Okay, that's not what I meant. I can't believe I just died in the difficulty hub. Thanks, Level Lord. Anyways, just look at this. The gate to the hard skill has this neat low gravity room that you gotta jump across. I'm very easily amused that they've isolated this low gravity effect to a single area and not across the entire level. We'll see this again in a later map, but my only other experience with this in Quake was that one secret map in the first episode of Quake, so I don't know, maybe I just had my standards too low. Alright, Enforcers, right off the bat. Not exactly Quake's toughest enemies, they telegraph their attacks and falter with even the slightest bit of damage, but this is a statement that this mission pack isn't exactly going to be pulling any punches. You get the nail gun pretty early on, so you're not going to need to shotgun anything just yet, and be sure to pick up this red armor behind the wall because you're going to need it once you meet... Are you okay? These are the Centroids, the first of the first of Scourge's new enemies. A cyborg scorpion equipped with dual nail guns and a tail for melee. Allegedly. I never got close enough to see for myself until near the end of the campaign, and even then it was just because I heard a unique sound effect. Though as intimidating as they might seem, vibrating through the Speed Force like that, they're not as dangerous as you might think. I mean, for God's sakes, this is still the opening level. As long as you've got adequate cover, you can take them out with nothing but a standard combat shotgun. They're really only a threat in big open arenas, which Scourge is surprisingly lacking, at least ones with Centroids. Though shortly after, we're given the laser cannon, a cell-based alternative to the nail gun. Of course it makes a Star Wars blaster sound, why am I surprised? It's got some pretty good damage output too, kinda surprising that they'd give it to us this early in the expansion. But don't get too cocky, remember to spray responsibly because those shots ricochet and you can take self-damage if a shot bounces back at you. You might recognize this weapon if you've played Bloodshot's Quake 1.5, a really fun reimagining of Quake 1, which I can haphazardly summarize as Brutal Quake. Except unlike Brutal Doom, I actually enjoyed playing it. Go ahead, take my gamer card back, I'm not ashamed to say it. You gotta make your way through these sewers in the courtyard where you find the rocket launcher, which you do need to progress. The game directly tells you that you gotta shoot a rocket into this pipe here. A nice use of interacting with the environment to progress, something that classic Quake didn't really do, or at least I don't remember this. Or any id game now that I think about it up to this point. This was more common in build engine games, honestly. Alright, the pump is destroyed, the pressure lock is open, and the gold key card is obtained. It's time to use my surplus of rockets on a room of unsuspecting soldiers. Yeah, this is something I didn't quite get when I did my review of the original Quake a couple years back. I didn't put together that the rocket launcher was basically intended to be your primary weapon, and stuck with the double barrel for most of it because it was hard for me to process the idea of a double barrel shotgun not being your primary weapon in a first-person shooter. Alright, so I got this mega health that I found in the ceiling here, and... I just got squished under the elevator button. But wait, don't leave the level just yet. Shoot the top of the box here and watch those boxes give birth to even smaller boxes and use their babies as platforms to get another mega health. Nice. Please stop moving. Storage facility, an average level with a couple of fun moments. You get the double barrel right off the bat. I know it's not the best weapon in Quake 1, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't love how it felt. Just the sound design, the way the gun bobs and bounces, I love it. I know it's not as good as Doom 2's Super Shotgun, but what is? Much of this level intersects itself, so the total volume of the map is rather low, but makes up for it in surface area, and it does a pretty good job at it. Also, wetsuits. Were these in the original game? I honestly can't remember. The first thing that came to mind though was the frog suit from Mario 3, enhancing your mobility in water. I know that's not the greatest comparison, it's just what came to mind. Why is this bridge made out of blood particles? That's fucking metal. Speaking of metal, no, your ears aren't fooling you. This is a brand new soundtrack made for the Scourge of Armagon by musical artist Ji-hun Hwang. I hope I pronounced that right. At least according to the Quake wiki. When I went to go check the dude's IMDb page, he's not credited for anything Quake related. So either someone fucked up or this dude isn't exactly proud of his work. But hey, what can I say? I think it's pretty good. I know that Trent Reznor's soundtrack was legendary to some, and I would agree, but this mix of ambience, metal, and orchestral music, I think that it works. Though this bit right here... That sounds more like Crash Bandicoot to me than it does anything 90s FPS related. Not saying it's bad, it's just a bit jarring. I really dig this arena here though. The beginning is in a tight claustrophobic space and then opening up to assemble these stairs and revealing more Centroids on the second level. It's a notable arena to say the least. Speaking of notable, this secret here had me stumped for a good couple of minutes. You see this shootable switch the moment you start the level, and I know that shooting it raises a bridge above the blood bridge, but it retracts so fast that I knew that there had to be more to it. But I just went on with the level to think about it. But then after clearing out a 2-story room filled with these bastards and being rewarded with Scourge's second new weapon, it finally dawned on me. A sticky bomb launcher, something that I hoped would control like Team Fortress 2's sticky launcher, but in reality is proximity based. I mean, Prodeus had the same thing, and I only complained about that a little bit. And again, you might recognize this from Quake 1.5, these are throwable grenades in that mod. Instead of bouncing around, these grenades latch onto a surface and detonate whenever anything comes near them, including yourself, so you gotta be careful, just listen for that audio cue. The only downside is that sometimes you'll plant some grenades down that just aren't near an enemy and you've ended up wasting ammo since there's no manual detonate. Thankfully it does share ammo with your rockets, so you're going to be having a ton of those. The explosives do detonate over time, you can also shoot them for the same effect, but this leads to that secret becoming possible, firing it onto the button and making a beeline for that bridge. It's a creative use of using this thing's auto-detonate. Anyways, this leads us to Scourge's first secret level. Alright, I'll be honest, I've beaten Quake Scourge twice and I've never dabbled in its secret levels, so I have no idea what to... Okay, it's not too bad. There's a fair amount of sewers and underwater paths that I know might annoy a certain someone, but I didn't really mind. Okay, I take it back. But no, it's not exactly anything special. I really think that this should have just been part of the main campaign. And I found it to be a little too easy, though that might be because you find not 1, not 2, but 3 mega healths on the main route. Though 2 of them are behind secrets that aren't exactly doing their best to hide. One of them is given to you right off the bat next to the silver keycard. Though opening this gate and seeing 2 Centroids firing at you with a 3rd hidden off to the side, that's a feeling of fear that doesn't go away despite how easy they are to take out. Are you trying to flake me in the dark? Shame this quad damage doesn't get any use though. I thought nail gunning these guys from the connecting room would save me some time and ammo, but in reality it left me with a flaccid quad damage that I'm too embarrassed to tell my doctor about. Oh, that's kinda neat. I wonder if this is supposed to be a reference to the original outdoor area from Quake's E1M1 Slipgate complex. Could be a coincidence, but hey, it's fun to think about. God damn it. I had to start Hypnotic M3 after falling into this inescapable death pit. Remember the pit from the end of Doom 2's Tricks and Traps? Yeah, say hi to your bastard son. And yeah, I said Hip1M3, not E1M3. Even though functionally they would be the exact same thing, that's not what the game says when you check the level info. Yeah, guess what the HIP stands for, I dare you. Well, starting off rather basic and what feels like a never-ending horde of enforcers, this level does what I wanted to see so badly from the first Quake. Alright, so you go into this mine, and right away this game throws this Indiana Jones boulder at you. That's not what I meant by I wanted the original Quake to do it, but it's still really cool, even though it animates at a lower frame rate. But then as you go lower into these mines, you set off this explosive over here and... Yep, now Quake's monsters have entered the fray with a handful of scrags. It's so simple, this method of slowly weaning you from human infantry to shove demonetized monsters, it's a great way of handling the pacing. Dare I say, I think I'm enjoying episode 1 of Scourge more than Quake's first episode. It almost feels like a soft reboot with how these levels are designed. And this use of environmental storytelling, you the player realizing why the humans boarded up these mines, I can't give it enough praise. Sure, it's not done to the extent of, say, Half-Life, but come on, this was 97. This was a level lord map, which would explain how competently designed it is. Look, I don't hold the highest opinion of Duke 3D. I personally find it to be the weakest of the build engine trinity, but the maps that level lord contributed to that game were pretty competently designed, and I can appreciate the level design and the destructible environments used. The other half of the levels were designed by the previously mentioned Tom Mustaine, who contributed maps to the master level of Doom 2 and music to TNT Evolution, as well as Doom Resurrection. Oh, that's just what I wanted. Doom 3, but it's a rail shooter. And look at all those vibing space slugs down there. Hey fuckers, I'm here to ruin your day. Alright, come on Trev, for the love of God, stay on the rails. Just gotta time this right. God Okay. Alright, who the hell thought this was good level design? Even if you grab the mega health just before entering this room, you still don't really have a chance on these higher difficulties. Approach these tumblers even a millisecond too late and that's it. You've clipped into the rock and you're dead. It's even more bullshit on hard and nightmare because there's an extra boulder in the front that made me think for a minute that this jump was impossible. You can't destroy the boulder, it's just a gamble on whether or not you make it. I'm gonna fucking quick save, I don't care. Fortress of the Dead culminates within the research facility, an underwhelming title name for a pretty good level. Lots of rooms stacked on top of each other with wide openings, allowing for more diverse combat options, especially with the grenade launcher. It's a lot of fun. I don't get why all of the secrets here are just nails. Okay, this first one also gives you yellow armor, and that's nice. Good to have extra protection, but it's just nails. Oh fuck, there's two of them! Looks like we might be getting close to the portal site. These bastards have shamblers chained up in here like it's a goddamn petting zoo. They're not gonna be doing much of the petting. Hashtag team not furry. I don't care what you guys tell me. They got rotfish in here too. What the hell do you feed these things to keep them alive? Oh, probably flesh, actually. I noticed by this point that I started capping out on a lot of my ammo, and not wanting to waste any ammo, I moved to a playstyle where I just sort of used whatever weapon had the most ammunition in it. It was kind of fun. If I'm being honest, I had a moment where I started to understand where a lot of these comments came from that said that they preferred Quake to Doom. And while I don't think I agree with that, I think that I finally understand. Like the synapses in my brain were firing off like the thermite John Carmack used to steal computers in his high school. Fucking hell, another one? How many of these fuckers do you have weaponized? This is where Scourge won me over. It's essentially a mini-boss rush sending a group of these centroids at you, and with each centroid's death, another hatch opens to release more of them. All while this massive thing that also animates at 30 FPS rotates in the middle of the arena. It's a highlight for sure, and a memorable moment in Scourge's campaign, especially with what follows shortly after. I'm speechless, honestly. Passing over to the other side through this sort of limbo where the gates of sleek humanity technology meet the chaotic and grungy world of Quakes, complete with an electric pentagram and a door consisting of 3 hook-like appendages, which I'm pretty sure are supposed to symbolize Quake's tentacles, which, as I mentioned before, is already a subtle way to appear like the Quake symbol. Oh, this is so cool. Deep within the bowels of the research facility, you discover a passage that the followers of Quake have been using to enter our world. The bastards use some type of gigantic teleporter to overload one of our own slipgates. As long as this portal exists, Earth will never be safe from Quake's cruel minions. If you could find the source of the portal's power, you can shut it down, possibly forever. With only a moment's consideration for your own safety, you re-enter the dark domain. Knowing hell would have been a better fate than experiencing the reign of Quake. You sure about that? Hell seems pretty empty after Daddy Davoth got his chest ball shattered. Alright, who's ready for some pain? You know the drill already. New episode, no guns, as I'm sure the saying goes. Sure, I'll shotgun a Death Knight. Why wouldn't I want to shotgun a Death Knight? There's a mega health right at the beginning here if you shoot this pillar. Get it, you're going to need it. Oh boy, fiends, I missed you so much. Wait, what are you and why are you green? I'll tell you, there's nothing stranger than walking into the realm beyond hell and being laughed at by little green gremlins. That's not an insult, by the way. These fuckers are literally called gremlins. They're not nearly as threatening as their fiend cousins. Are those cat ears? Come one, come all, get your government-mandated cat boys, courtesy of the one we don't name because we don't want to get demonetized. Sir, I'd like to remind you that defiling a corpse is against— Oh my god!
Plus you killed a child.
Yeah, on top of spawning in groups, these fuckers gravitate towards other corpses and reproduce asexually. So while they're not threatening on their own, it is good to kill them when you see them so they don't reproduce like hell rabbits. I miss you, Daisy. Yeah, I didn't miss you guys at all. Yeah, let's keep the ball rolling. No, I don't mind fighting a Vor without half of my arsenal. Christ, those Vor beams are fast on Nightmare! Also new to Scourge, we can do this. We'll name him Buster. Buster! You can get the proximity grenade launcher from a secret on top of this metal hatch here when you get the nail gun. Yeah, we've got a secret inside of a secret sort of deal. We'll be coming back here in a minute. But once you grab the silver key, there's an empathy shield behind this wooden cross. Which here, I thought I needed to find any other way to grab this, like maybe a switch or something, but no, you have to detonate this with an explosive to open it up. Honestly, that's kind of a cool secret, but it gets points off because at no point in Quake, to my knowledge anyway, is there a secret that you need to blow up wooden beams with an explosive. Oh yeah, empathy shields, that's a new upgrade. It's a nice upgrade, it's not really much to write home about. It reflects half of all incoming damage back at the damage dealer, making it great for groups where you're inevitably going to take some pot shots. You're not totally invulnerable though, so you still have to play a bit carefully. In fact, picking up this Ring of Shadows shortly after probably wasn't the best idea because it minimizes the aggro on you, lowering the damage reflected and overall power-up potential. Alright, time to fight some shamblers in a tight space. I like to get the pentagram over by this Vor here so I can just double barrel them. Nope, we're not done yet. Shoot the switch above the exit and that gate by the proximity grenade launcher opens up, bringing us to episode 2's secret level. The Gremlin's Domain. Another secret level that I never bothered to learn until recording this review. This one fucks too. I love the layout of the place, though despite being named the Gremlin's Domain, I think there's only 5 or 6 of them here. Yeah, you get them, buddy. Never give up. Cool, another secret in a secret. Hitting the switch above the gold door reveals a mega health, but that's not the secret. Nope, shoot the switch above the mega health to open a hidden door in the staircase that looks like one of my high school redstone circuits, all to reveal a thunderbolt? Oh, you shouldn't have. Now revel in fear at my Thunderdog. Holy shit, Jimmy, you can't just throw everything in the kitchen sink at me like this. You need to slow it down, my man. Yeah, you guys know Jimmy Simon, co-founder of Hypnotic Software and contributor to renowned projects such as The Egg. The Egg. Oh, it's a deathmatch map. That makes sense. This is Jimmy Simon's only contribution to the Scourge of Armagon, though he still had a bit of help from Tom Mustaine. So I have no idea who to blame this clusterfuck on. I'm gonna blame Tom. Are you kidding me? Yep, that's a cathedral, alright. Now who's ready to meet Jesus? Quite the confusing level layout we've got here. Maybe it's just me, but I found myself getting lost several times trying to find even the first keycard to move on. The constant ambushes of Vors certainly didn't help either. I can list at least 3 times that Tom unapologetically dropped a surprise shambler on my ass. If you wanted an example of how trigger-happy the ogres can be on Nightmare, they almost held their own against a shambler here. Felt like Tom knew this level was a bitch to navigate, because you can open the secret portal here in the main cathedral hall to take you to a mega health, but wow, would you look at that, I'm back at the beginning of the fucking map! And does that clock work? It's kind of impressive, not gonna lie, though I'm not gonna stick around for an hour to see if the hour hand moves. I don't care that much. Oh Jesus, please give me the strength to smite down my enemies. Thank you, Father. Oh great, there's a Vor stuck in the ceiling! Good thing their hitboxes are so fucking massive that I could just snipe their gross peg feet. That's a sentence I never thought I'd say. Watch your step? Oh yeah, that's probably for the best. This is quite possibly the only time in any FPS that I voluntarily used the strafe key. So I've known about the strafe key for a while. I learned about it in Team Fortress 2 of all places, where if you hold down the Alt key on your keyboard, your mouse becomes a makeshift analog stick for movement, allowing for smaller, surgical levels of movement. Could you believe that this was the only way to strafe in the original Wolfenstein 3D? You're gonna need it here because doing this section without it is probably gonna be a deal breaker. Each platform dipping into the lava as soon as you step on it, that's cool. You could just memorize it, but I'm lazy. Though I still do drop the ball by the end trying to backtrack, not knowing that the secret I entered here opened up a portal to take me straight to the exit. That's cool. I wonder if this is the exit. Oh, yeah, keep it up. The more gremlins, the merrier, you little bastards. Oh, he just took my gun. Yeah, gremlins can take your guns. That's another good reason to not let them get too close to you. Again, they're easy on their own, but they have the potential to really fuck you up. This was the only level that this really happened to me, and I admit I let it happen on purpose just so that I could document it. But the catacombs here are filled with the bastards. Are you sure that this isn't the Gremlin's Domain? Hip2M3 loves its Vors. It feels like every 3 minutes you turn a corner and there's one of these tripods waiting for you. And in several situations, more than one. And it's not like they're all optional either. You have to take this one out to lower the drawbridge to get get a move on. And I'm sure there's a better way to take out the Shambler peeking through the window, but hey, what can you do? Jeez, that's a lot of Death Knights. You see all those flame strikes going on right there? Yeah, that's how it felt when he joined Quake Champions as a playable character, especially pre-nerf. Do people still play that game? I spent like 2 weeks trying to unlock that classic Ranger skin, and then I just stopped playing. Yep, okay. At least I'm able to turn the tides and summon my own Death Knight with this stage's Horn of Conjuring. Horn of Conjuring? Horn of Conjuring. Yeah, go get him! Show that 4 who's boss! Holy shit, he actually survived. Can he go for 2? Nope. Oh, fuck you. How is that even remotely okay? Oh, fuck you. This tight room with all of the scrags and fiends was a bitch. Mainly because I was starved for ammo at this point. I just resorted to meleeing them with the Mjolnir. It's not very effective, but I mean, I couldn't really do anything else, and I guess it worked. I don't know how I could have done this last bit without the empathy shield. Being swarmed by this many fiends in a tight place is worse than hell. I mean, I guess that's what the game said, so it makes sense. Even then, I feel like old Richie Gray was looking down on me. This fiend got all kinds of fucked up. I don't know what's going on here. He was also invincible, I think? Oh, what is that meatball? I do like this bit here with the electric traps that trigger if you get too close. I appreciate the free Shambler kills. Can we go for 2? Not what I meant, but I'll take it. Oh god! What the fuck are those things? It's fitting that this level ends in a coffin because that's similar to how I feel after playing this level. Not great, not bad. I got jump scared by the spike mine at the beginning, but it's the only one in the entire level, so that's pretty cool. If you're going for secrets, then you're gonna need to keep an eye out for these makeshift bounce pads. The thing is, this was before Quake 3 created the iconic bounce pads that sort of became the standard for presentation for these things in FPSs, so they're just vents here. Look, if you could use the blood particles to highlight the bridge at the beginning of the campaign, you could have used some to let people know that these were bounce pads. Okay, so there's one at the beginning of the level here that takes you to this teal armor, and I guess this is meant to teach you about these things, and I mean, hey, it worked for me. But then several more of these secrets are hidden behind these makeshift bounce pads, and you really gotta keep an eye open for these guys. And I get it, they're secrets, they're not exactly meant to be found, but my point stands. Though I can say this is the first time that I had a pentagram and a quad damage at the same time. That was liberating. Oh man, he's coming in for round 2! I'm starting to think that the Horn of Conjuring sucks ass. I witnessed a Shambler getting fucking impaled, but other than that, the crypt was kind of boring. Have you ever seen a movie that was fine, pretty average, but then the ending fucking sucked so much that it left a sour taste in your mouth and you ended up hating it for days? Yeah, welcome to Mortem's Keep, the final map of episode 2. It's a solid time at first, a little confusing. I'm not the biggest fan of the layout here. The silver key is in this tiny room with 2 Vors that feels way too unique for not having anything in it. It's not a challenge, there's no secrets, nothing really to pick up. It's just a room that is a little fancy, I guess. Nice. The room where you pick up the pentagram of protection to get a move on was pretty cool. The walls come down, then the game gives you some fiends to kill. It's very cathartic. And then, okay, so you get the gold key and you get jump scared by another spike mine. You pick up this empathy shield and then... So this was my fault. I take full responsibility for this. I had an empathy shield and went on a bit of a power trip where I just tanked these Shambler's blast to take them out without realizing that I probably should have saved that mega health for these goddamn generators. It took me almost 20 minutes to cross this single room. You have to press this button to destroy these generators, but even at full health, granted without armor, these lightning bolts are enough to kill you in under a second. It's all in the timing, but I think the timing is more strict on Nightmare. I even made it a couple of times only to get caught in the explosion from the generators. I tried rocket jumping, I tried just jumping, I tried running around. The Level Lord giggles? No, the Level Lord is giggles. This is the first of 2 maps produced by, at the time, industry newcomer Mike Wardwell, who went by the alias Giggles, known for his work on Half-Life Opposing Force and previously worked on Duke 3D. Yeah, that makes sense. Nope, fuck you. Hey, patience, one at a time, boys. After destroying the power generator, you pass through the gate of Mortem's Keep. A wave of nausea suddenly flows over you and you find yourself cast out into the liquid void. You float lifelessly, yet aware in the lavender sea of energy. Lavender? I don't think I've seen the color lavender once in this game. Maybe the vor beams, but that's more of like a violet red to me. After what seems like an eternity, you feel a presence of a diabolical intelligence. You are held helpless for a minute as your mind is open to that of Armagon, Quake's general and master of this realm. Oh, there's the game's namesake. It took long enough. Recognizing you as one who foiled his attempts to conquer Earth, a hellish howl fills your mind and blots out all consciousness. When you wake, you find yourself in the shores of reality, but in time and a place unknown to you. I guess that's where the Scourge is coming from. Can you guys stop eating the cameraman, please? Welcome to the Rift, Scourge's third and final episode. Grab the rad suit and jump into the toxic sludge below, and you can get back most of your arsenal before we even enter the meat of her torment. Oh, Vor on the tram, where will he go? Oh, that's just mean. So you're exploring, right? You jump up to this ledge to grab these extra rockets, keep going up the small ledge in hopes of finding some super cool, super secret, and you arguably do, because hey, look at that, you just skipped half of the level.
But you're not supposed to be here. As a matter of fact, you're not.
Here's where the spike mines really come out in full force, and their name explains it all. Once you're in their range, they book it right for you, and to my knowledge, can only be one-shot with a nail gun. Possibly because the nails pop them. I would think bullets would have the same effect, but whatever. They can take out enemies, as we saw previously. I mean, these fuckers do about 200 damage a pop. That's enough to one-shot you if you're not stocked with armor. And I think that's intentional. Not to say that I'm a fan, though. Some of these fuckers can pop up out of nowhere and lead to some really bullshit deaths. There's a secret midway through the level to pick up a quad damage, but as soon as that path opens up, surprise, it spawns a bunch of spike mines right behind you. They're normally supposed to make this sort of gurgling sound to alert you to their presence, but I don't know, sometimes they just don't. Maybe it's a Quake spasm thing, I don't know. Alright, now we're talking, my own not fuzzy companion. Kick some ass, Shambi! Oh, would you look at that, the Centroids are back. Haven't seen you bastards in a minute. Once again, Richard Gray hits us with another rockin' set piece. I mean, look at that. The three-dimensional Quake logo with the lava brimming at its tips, raising a nail to open the path below to progress, with an unobtainable pentagram at the top to garnish. Good shit. Pandemonium, good level. It's about time we see the human forces again, this time sprinkled in alongside their Lovecraftian friends. Pandemonium isn't the hardest level in Scourge, but it's certainly a memorable one, with set pieces where you detonate these pillars to make a bridge only to get flanked by scrags and fiends, which you... not very keen on this bit. Visually, it feels like I'm in the back rooms or some bullshit where you no-clip into an area that you're not supposed to, except it's not unsettling. There's no secrets here, just awkward geometry. Part of the level serves as a hub for the gold and silver doors, a level design that I've mentioned before that I'm actually a fan of as long as it's used sparingly. And some of these encounters, man, it feels like I'm in a war zone at times. I don't really have much else to say. It's a short level, only taking me about 7 minutes to complete. Compared to nearly every other level that took me almost 20 minutes a pop, it was a nice break. Nice. Ooh, is this an unsuspecting shambler I see with my very eyes? Alright, that's on me. Limbo is 1 part massacre, 2 parts shit show. It's a weird area in between. A limbo, if you will. A lot of this level is connected by this 3-part elevator. Cool idea, controls like shit. Each floor has buttons for the elevator, but they don't summon the elevator to your floor. They just move it to the next one in its path. And depending on if it's already moving up or down, it just pads out time. It's kind of annoying. Fuck you, Tom. I think I've had nightmares like this. Alright, so you go down into this room to get the silver keycard, and you've already got this mega health from the room before with all the rotfish, and you're just flanked by all these death knights and ogres, and just when you feel like you're safe, Tom drops multiple Vors on you with no cover, so you just gotta run. But since this is Nightmare and the Vor beams are just as fast as you are, so I took the Vors out and I had to cheese a couple of them, and then motherfucker! I ended up just getting lucky because the lightning got stuck on the pedestal. Once again, Tom is looking down on me and granted me mercy. No, fuck you, I'm going to the secret level. Yeah, Yeah, this one kinda sucks. This was originally intended as a deathmatch map if it wasn't obvious by the map's level name, HipDM1, and by the fact that there's no secrets whatsoever. There were originally going to be floating islands with vegetation and waterfalls, a bit ambitious for 1997. Hell, that was part of Half-Life's later chapters and it arguably didn't even work then. Look, if I'm being honest, this map seems like it would have been pretty dope for deathmatch. The floating paths remind me a lot of that map from Quake 3 that everybody loved that even got remade into Quake Champions, if that means anything. But filling it with these random pockets of enemies just feels kinda lame. I enjoyed the power trip of having my own Shambler companion wipe out half the map for me, but having Shamblers and Vors in such an open area without sufficient cover just got annoying really fast. Kinda glad that this level just ends out of nowhere. Yeah, not a fan of this one, sorry Richie. Ah, yes. No FPS is complete without a level titled Gauntlet. At least they spelled it right. Remember to grab the red armor at the start by shooting the 4 demon heads. You're gonna need it. I appreciate the trap early on where you gotta shoot these 3 switches to get out. Not even that hard. It's kinda cool actually, but it follows with you getting dropped into a pool of blood to fight off some gremlins. It's very memorable to say the least. Tom? I honestly forgot that I had the Mjolnir at this point. Yeah, this weapon kinda sucks, I'm sorry to say. It's not even that great against ogres, which, speaking of, I've dubbed this room the Bridge of Ogres. Hey look guys, it's Hypnotic, like Hypnotic software. We also get the privilege of having the quad damage and a pentagram of protection simultaneously again. Not a bad way to send off Hypnotic software before they become a ritual. A short map, but a good one. Kudos Tom, you did me proud. Wow, how poetic. Alright buddy, it's time to meet the big bad of the expansion's namesake. The hell of an entrance too. This Armagon guy must be... oh, that's just Macron from Quake 2 with a fiend head slapped on top of him. I think it's supposed to be a gremlin actually, doesn't matter. He's still a catboy. He hits really fucking hard too. I tried to circle strafe around the bastards, but the fucker keeps leading his shots and the splash damage makes it really difficult to serpentine around. Sadly, or I guess thankfully, his pathfinding isn't too great. So you really can just... yeah. Oh, look at that, he even dies like Macron. Wait, is this a third-person cutscene? With scripted sequences and camera angles? God damn, Hypnotic, this is some ambitious shit right here. After the last echoes of Armagon's death fade away, you breathe a sigh of relief. With the loss of his magic, Armagon's fortress begins to collapse. The rift he created to send his grisly troops through time slowly closes and seals itself. Wait, through time? I don't remember that being part of the plot. In the chaos that ensues, a wall collapses, revealing one remaining time portal. Wait, time portal? With your chances to escape rapidly growing slim, you race to the portal, mindless of your destination. In a flash of light, you find yourself back at Command HQ, safe and sound. Congratulations, you are victorious. The minions of Quake have once again fallen by your mighty hand. Is this the last time you'll see any of Quake's Hellions? Only time will tell. Yeah, about a month. Again, this is only the first of 2 expansion packs for 1996's Quake. As for Hypnotic, the studio was rebranded as Ritual Entertainment. They hadn't put out a game since 2006, and this is partially the result of Ritual being acquired by Mumbo Jumbo, where they were sentenced to what I can only describe as mobile shovelware hellscapes, or as they put it, casual games. Unsurprisingly, almost everyone at Ritual left Mumbo Jumbo, with MJ, to this day, never issuing a statement on why they even wanted to acquire the studio in the first place. Imagine starting off making a badass expansion for one of the most revolutionary FPSs from 1996, all the way to making... God, at least it's not exclusive to Peacock. Actually, maybe that's for the best.